Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my studio. This is Paint with Lovejoy. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you're here for the first time, awesome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're here for a second, third, or fourth time, thank you so much for coming back and continuing your painting process. In today's painting, this is going to be a Georgia O'Keeffe painting and a bit more of, I guess we would call it an advanced beginner, because we're going to go work on more wet on wet blending and work in smaller sections and move our way across the canvas. So if you are a first time painter, I would recommend that you try some of my other videos geared towards first time painters, get comfortable with the process, and then when you're a little more comfortable with holding the brush and mixing your paint, then try this video, because it might be a little too much for this being your first painting. So with that being said, this is going to be diving into more of the wet on wet blending and more brush control for these Georgia O'Keeffe paintings. So what you're going to see in the description box below is a link to a supply kit. And in that supply kit is all the paint, brushes, canvas, everything that you need to get started painting for this project. What you're also going to see in the description box below is a link to what I call a traceable. And a traceable is a way to get that initial composition on your canvas before you start painting. And you would transfer it using carbon paper or graphite paper. You also have the option that you can pause the video where that traceable image shows up and draw what you see on your canvas. So there's information in the description box below. Whichever method works for you, make that happen and then pick up the video for the painting portion. With this video and any video that I create, you have full permission to deviate from the instruction. If you want to change out colors, if you want to do something different, it's just important that you actually paint. All right, and no matter what you do today, just have fun, get lost in the process of painting, and just kind of forget about the world for a little bit. So enough talking, let's jump into the painting process. Alright guys, this is going to be another fun painting for Georgia O'Keeffe's Flowers. So head on over to where you have your supplies set up, turn on your favorite music, and as always, make sure you take your progress photos. Now, once you have your traceable transferred to your canvas, we're going to be moving into painting the background, and we are changing this painting a little bit compared to the original. On the original, there was a white background with a white flower, so I've actually made the background light blue in this painting. You are more than welcome to switch it up to any color that you like. So to make our light blue, we're going to start with white, pull a little bit of that white aside, and add a touch of blue to get to a light blue color. All right, and we will be using a decent amount. We're going to fill in our background with this light blue. And as you're painting, you can try a few different brush strokes, try the full width of the brush, try it sideways, maybe make X marks, but try a few different ways of applying your paint to find what's comfortable for you. And for today's painting, we're going to be working a lot with our wet on wet blending. So we're going to work in sections, and we're going to kind of build our skills from one section to the next. So we'll be getting a lot of practice with your blending, with brush control today, and making smaller spaces as we get into the flower. So as you're filling in your background, if you need to move between the large and the small brush, feel free to do that. You don't have to stick with just one brush. And as you have to mix your color a second and third time, don't stress about getting the exact same shade every time. Just kind of come close within the vicinity of the shade that you started with as you're filling in your background. After we have this filled in, we're going to place some darker blue, we'll place some white, and we're going to have some places to where we'll mix in our value scale, our different shades, into the background. And I've actually taught this painting many times, and I've had people change the background on this, and even a few people have changed the color of their flower. So with this video and any of my videos on my channel, you are more than welcome to switch out colors, change it up, deviate from the instruction, and make it your own. And if you do that, please send me photos. And even if you paint the exactly what it's on the video, please send me photos to paintwithlovejoy@gmail.com. It's just super exciting and nice to see your guys' pictures when they come through. All right, so we've got our nice base on here. So now move down to a smaller brush and we're going for a darker blue. And you can just basically see where I place these, place this middle blue, and then we're going to go back and blend it in. So when you're ready to blend, wipe that extra paint off your brush, and then with light pressure, you're going to blend that medium blue into the darker blue. And again, this gets easier with more practice, so be kind to yourself as you're learning how to do this. If you move your brush almost too much and you lose that transition or lose that shade, just reapply your paint. Like you can see here, I just actually took some of that blue and applied it and then diffused it into the background. So this is a really fun place to just kind of play with what it feels like to move paint and blend it together. So here again, you can see where I slapped some of that blue on there and then just with the light pressure, just blended it from the right-hand side over. And again, you're just strengthening your power of observation as you watch where I place it on the canvas and then mimic that to the best of your ability on your canvas. Again, blending and wet on wet blending gets easier and more comfortable the more that you paint. And I also recommend that you apply your paint maybe a little bit thicker so that way you have a longer workability time. So again, you'll kind of find your balance. Each person has a slightly different blending style. And here you can see I'm adding direct white into the background and blending it in. And you could even introduce other colors if you wanted to. But again, you're just getting comfortable with blending paint into wet paint, or a new color into wet paint. All right, and again, just watch where I place those, place each color on the canvas. And if yours at home is a couple shades darker or lighter than what I'm doing here, totally okay. This is where you're painting for today. And if you're holding your breath, please take a big inhale, relax. It's just painting. It is not the end of the world. I'm really proud of you for painting at home. All right, so pause the video, take your progress photo. We're going to be moving into a smaller brush and smaller controlled brush strokes, but the same blending. So I'm in that middle-sized brush and we're doing a mixture of green and yellow and keeping it a bit more on the yellow side. So just a little bit of green will go a long way to get to this kind of spring green yellow. And we're going to be applying this in kind of a slight triangle shape to the stem of our flower. All right, now I'm grabbing just some of that direct yellow. We're going to slap it on the top, and then we're going to do the same thing, just kind of blend it into that limey green color. And again, totally okay if you need to go back and grab more paint to apply it. Depending on what brand of paint, you may be adjusting things that you do based on the brand of paint that you have. So feel free to adjust for what you need for painting. So now I've actually added more green to that mixture. Just going a few shades darker green than what we were just using. And again, applying that to the base of the stem and the side of the little triangle shape that we made earlier. And we will be applying this into that little leaf that's behind the stem. All right, so I am actually going to grab the pointy brush, a little bit of black paint. We're going to mix some green in with that. Again, you want to stay closer to the green side. We're just making it a little bit darker with the black. And then we're placing it right on top of that stem on the left-hand side. And again, when my hand moves, you'll be able to see where it's at. And just again, keep light pressure. And then we're going a little bit below the base of that stem. And if you are using student grade paint, it may be a bit on the transparent side, so apply it a little thicker as needed. All right, so now I'm back up to that bigger brush, more of that green and black mixture, but still hanging out closer to the green. And we're going to fill in that leaf behind the stem. And because the stem is a little bit of more of that yellow green compared to the green and black that we're using for the leaf, that stem will kind of pop forward with that leaf behind it. So you want to be very careful and not go over that stem with this color so you can keep a little bit of that color shift. You're doing great. I'm proud of you for painting at home. All right, so going down to that pointy brush, we're going to grab some of that direct yellow. Same thing, we're going to do our wet on wet blending. So we're going to slap this color in a few spots, and then we're going to smooth it and blend it into the base color of the leaf. And as you're adding a lighter color on top of a darker color, that lighter color is going to diffuse so much faster compared to putting a darker color on. So be very sparing with your brushstroke movements, and if you need to, go back and reapply that light color and maybe just move your brush a little less to keep that saturation of the pigment. Again, as you do this, physically go through the process, you'll start to kind of understand and get a comfort level for it. All right, grabbing a little bit of that green, same thing, gonna place it on top and just kind of getting the little tip of that leaf, the little curl in there. All right, so now going for white, and we're going to be placing it right on top of the stem on the right hand side. Again, trying to make that lighter so it stands out from the leaf. And you're applying that white and then just with light pressure blending that into the base. And then you can see here I'm grabbing a little bit of black for the opposite side to intensify that shadow. And if you are taking your progress pictures, if you took a picture before that and then take one now, just go back and forth between the photos and observe how different it looks with that lighter color and darker color and how it makes it pop forward on the leaf. So just an extra little thing for you to do when you look at your pictures. All right, so take your progress photo, and we're going to be moving into the main portion of our flower. And we're going to start with a light gray, a very, very light gray. And I'm using a pretty light gray, so it may be a little difficult for you to see where I place them on the flower. And if you made your gray too dark, do what I just did here on the plate, make a new pile, and using a little bit of the gray you just mixed, mix that into the new pile, and you can kind of step down from your color. So again, just try to observe the place of where I'm putting this color and mimic that to the best of your ability on your canvas. I do realize it's hard to see this light gray on the white canvas. We will be going with a medium gray and a little bit of white and blending it in. So we're still building on that wet on wet blending. So it's almost kind of the entire center of that flower petal that we're filling in. Basically the perimeter of the petal we didn't fill in with that. And then go ahead and get that front little beginning of the spiral curve. I'm not quite sure what you would call that on the flower. But you're filling all that in. And then now we're going to go to the pointy brush, a little more control, a little smaller marks. And I'm going to go back up to that darker gray that I made originally that was too dark. There we go. And this is a little more obvious to see where I'm placing it. And you're placing it directly on that light gray mixture that you put on there already. And then we're going to do the same thing, that wet on wet blending, and blend these colors into that base. So again, just notice the placement of where this darker gray is going and do your best to just mimic that. You are training your brain, you're exercising your brain right now, and it will help other aspects in your life the more that you strengthen your power of observation. So these are good skills that you're developing that you can take into other aspects of your life. All right, so here we made a bit of a darker medium gray. And as you can see, I placed it on the canvas and then realized it was too dark, so went back and adjusted my color. So feel free to do that. Just because you make the color doesn't mean you have to stick with it. You can adjust it once you place it on the canvas and realize that you need to go in a different direction. All right, and then just going on that right hand side of the flower, getting our shadow on there. And again, I'm using kind of that light pressure and blending it into the base light gray that was there. And now I'm cleaning the brush, going back to that pure white paint and placing it on top of that gray just to diffuse just a little bit of it. And then we're going to go a little bit darker and a little bit lighter. So we're just adding the final details and touches into our painting. And taking that pure white and just filling in that last highlight spot on the flower. After this, there should be no white canvas space, and even if you're putting white on a white canvas, still just get something on there, so it helps the uniformity of the rest of your painting and brush strokes. And again, just soften any lines that you need to do from the other areas. We are of our calla lily. All right, I'm really proud of you. You're doing a great job. George O'Keeffe is proud of you. We're both just glad that you're painting and getting creative and hopefully de-stressing from your daily life. All right, so here I'm going to grab a little bit of black and make a darker gray, and we're going to put this just in a few key areas. Again, increasing that contrast and giving one more value scale as we create this illusion of kind of a 3D object on a flat 2D canvas. So as you're doing these smaller lines, treat your brush kind of like a pencil and use light pressure and just the tip of the brush. And again, this does get easier and more comfortable the more that you paint and the more that you practice. So if you're in your very beginning stages, be kind to yourself. And then also know that in a couple of months or a year from now, when you are still painting and look back at what you've done, you'll be able to see how far your skills have improved in a short amount of time. All right, so going back to that medium gray, getting a few of these little wrinkles inside the petal. And now we're going to clean the brush really good, pull some white aside, add a touch of yellow to it. We're going for a super, super, super light lemony yellow. And we're going to place this on the inside of the flower. And again, just giving a hint that we've got color coming from the center opening of the flower, even though we can't see it in this particular position. And again, just that super light yellow, blending it into the white. You're doing great. And like I said earlier, the only thing that we changed about this George O'Keeffe painting was the background. So in her original painting, the background was just shades of light gray. And if you want to switch it up to be more closer to her original, feel free to pull that picture up and change your colors. So here going in with just a little bit of that darker gray in a few spots. And I think this takes us into the conclusion of our painting. So I'm really proud of you. I hope you enjoyed it. And I look forward to painting with you in the future. Cheers. Hey guys, I hope your paintings turned out really nice. I have no doubt that George O'Keeffe would be proud of you. I'm proud of you for painting at home. And it is okay to do this video more than once. You will strengthen those skills and get more and more comfortable with blending and doing some of those subtle transitions. So thanks again for practicing and continuing to evolve your skills. As you're uploading your videos to social media, please tag me at paintwithlovejoy or hashtag paintwithlovejoy, or even email them to me. I really like to see your guys' finished results. And then when I post those to social media, it encourages other people to jump in on the painting process as well. So you are a huge, huge help for getting other people to paint and for continuing the success of this channel. So please spread the word. If there's anything you want me to paint in the future, you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment in the comments below, and I do my best to respond to just about every comment on there. Like I said, I appreciate your support. So thanks again for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. Keep on painting, and I will see you for the next painting session. Cheers.